Central City radio station, the Valley's home for podcasts. Talk Central Phoenix. Get the app on
It's time
iTunes
for the
or
Chips
Google
and Salsa
Play.
Show.
The only show about Latinos for Latinos. And did we mention Latinos?
It's the Latino.
Oh, Goobo, what have you got planned for today? Come on, this way.
You don't have to be Latino to enjoy chips and salsa.
Siempre love chips and salsa.
Welcome to the Chips and Salsa Show. We're here every Tuesday at 4 p.m. My name is Alice Lara, and I am here with my good buddy,
Don Jorge Scorpion.
Okay, we have, as you notice, our guest. We're going to be talking to next segment in more detail. But we welcome Josh Chumley. He is the Chief Advancement Officer for Choices. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you very much for having me.
And he's going to talk to us about his organization. And as you can guess, it's pro-life. You know what? I couldn't find my pro-life button. You know, I always wear my Pray to End Abortion.
I should have brought
and
some.
I couldn't find it. So I'm sorry, but I do have a freedom button on, which this is, you know, pro-life is about freedom.
Amen.
But we'll be talking to him more about the Walk and Worship Pro-Life Weekend. You guys won't want to miss it. So please hang in there. Take this opportunity for the first few minutes. Tell your friends about it. They can tune in live on Facebook, or remember, you can download the free app, Central City Radio app, so you can listen live to us as well. And what we're going to do before we get into it more with Josh, we are going to give you some announcements. George, you wanted to talk about internships, right?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Oh,
Hello.
You got my, what's the thing about
He was too busy
Mr.
looking at
Chumley
himself
here.
on the screen.
We're offering internships on the Chips and Salsa Show. In the future, if you want to learn more about the radio program, about what we do here, contact us at the contact number 623-640-1877 and say you're interested in interning, and we give certificates of internship if you are on the show for a while and you need some kind of recommendation. We'll send you a letter of recommendation that you've been on the show. It's a great show to be on. You learn a lot. You meet a lot of interesting people.
Like Josh.
And we offer a very good internship. We've had in the past, and they're very happy people that have done it.
We've had some great interns.
Yes.
I'm sure, does your organization use interns?
We do. We take volunteers and you can come in and learn.
It's really a good learning experience. You know, we don't have a bunch of money to pay you, but just the experience and the people that you meet, you have opportunities to learn all kinds of good stuff. If you have any interest in radio at all, I'd say come and do it, you know, please.
And it's very simple. You know, the task that you're tasked with is, you know, meeting the guests that we have and bringing them in, learning about them, and you can actually do two. You could intern with us, and if you find an organization that we
might
have
find
on the
an intern
radio
for both of us. Yeah.
you never know that
Let's
you
go.
may be interning on their programs too. So it opens a lot of doors. Internship is the place to go to, and that's a lot of people that have gotten in far in radio have interned at one time or another.
Right. Yeah, it used to be the way in. If you know anybody, maybe you're not interested, but if you know of anybody, you know, give them our information again. They can call George.
At 623-640-1877.
Excellent. And we had a lot of stuff we're going to take care of. We have something we call the cocotazos and the whole enchiladas. George, cocotazo is?
Cocotazo is when you say something kind of silly or nonsensical, you get tapped in the back of your head to kind of remind you that it's, you know, that you're, you know.
Duh, you did something dumb. And that's like a Puerto Rican term,
Now the
cocotazo.
the whole enchilada.
Well, I just want to say that, you know, we have, like every week, we award the cocotazo to Biden. It's just a done deal, man.
The cocotazo.
But we do have a whole enchilada, and we've got our whole enchilada already for this week.
And that's something good that somebody's done good in society or in life, and we recognize it on the air here.
I mean, mostly our guests are always whole enchiladas, like Josh's organization will be, I'm sure, too. But we also want to recognize, unfortunately, we lost a Texas National Guard member. You all probably know about it. Bishop E. Evans. He was only 22, and he was a field artilleryman. man from Arlington, and he joined the Texas Army National Guard in 2019. They did find his body. He was trying to save what he thought were some illegal aliens crossing the river, but they turned out to be cartel members.
They were
right?
struggling in the water, and he attempted to save them. They turned out to be two cartel members, and so there's a devious probably reasoning why he got killed. I think he got killed, not just drowned. But his family says that he was that kind of a person, that he would jump in to save anybody that, if they needed help. He had a kind heart, and he was in his fatigue, so who knows what happened when he went in the water to try to save these two people, and he paid his life. That's sad.
So we're just, rest in peace, and we wanted to give him our whole enchilada award.
He deserved
it. 22.
Yes.
That's just so young, and life is so precious. So it's horrible, horrible. We also have a few announcements. I wanted to announce that in my LD, we used to be LD 27, now we are 11. I like the fact that we rhyme. LD 11, and that's the South Mountain area. There is going to be a Carver community party. So this is the Carver precinct. It's going to be Saturday, April 30th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The hosts are going to be RNC Latino Outreach Director Monet Box, and also Carver PC Nicole Mercado, who is actually our secretary for LD 11. And also featuring LD 11 Senate candidate Marin Brannies. And we just booked Marin. We're going to have her on next month as a guest. Fantastic candidate. And this is going to be at the Maha Talk, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, MA-HATAUK Park, and that's at 9832 South 7th Avenue in Phoenix. So again, if you want to join that, it's open. Come and have a community party. Come and meet the folks out there. If you live in the area.
On the 17th, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yes. And then, George, you want to tell them about you don't have that out. The Cinco de Mayo. Then on Cinco de Mayo, the 5th of May, there's going to be a gas station voter registration, and that's Thursday, May 5th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And again, we're going to have the RNC Latino Outreach Director, Monet Box. That's going to be at the public sidewalk in front of the QT, 1915 West Southern Avenue in Phoenix, 85041. Bring signs to support voting Republican. These things are really important. I encourage people, if you can do this. Oh, got 1 minute. Okay, I got to real quick do the ASRA thing, George. And our good friend Sid de la Fuente wanted us to let you know that there's going to be an evening with Congressman Dr. Paul Gosar. And it's the Northwest Chapter of Arizona Republican Association, proud to provide an opportunity. Seating is limited. It's going to be at 10050 West Bell Road in Sun City. And we can tell you more about this. That's May 3rd from 6 to 8 p.m. Arizona Republican West Valley. So do that. We'll talk more about that. Okay. We'll be right back to talk more in depth with our good friend Josh Chumley. And he is with Choices. And I'm Alice Lara, and you are?
Don Jorge.
This is the Chips and Salsa Show, here every Tuesday at 4 p.m. And don't go away, because we'll be right back to guac on some more here on Central City Radio, Talk Central Phoenix. Stay with us.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
I had no idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was fine.
The most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was
the
fine.
most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Message.
Some parents plan ahead. Some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the
Only in
Ad
the
Council.
forest can you see this. And this. And this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
I didn't know it could do that!
Because one trip to the forest can spark a world of difference.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, canoeing, fishing, or camping. Or create your own adventure with family and friends, and you might just see this. Your moment's out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
Well, what are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. Don't you remember me? Don't you know that we miss you?
Miss me? Who misses me?
You know, all your friends in the forest. The trees, the pond, that little fort that you made out of branches. We all miss you.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
The forest is not that far away. Have an adventure today. I'm sure your mom would take you.
You're right. I should get out. I want to have fun. Play in puddles, catch frogs, and climb trees. Hey, Mom!
Yeah, hon? Steven, what is that in your hand?
It's my sense of adventure, Mom. It's telling me we need to get out of the house and have some fun in nature today.
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
When you hear the Wayne Allen Root Show.
For once, Reuters done some actual journalism on Hunter Biden. Hunter never actually worked in Ukraine, but he worked for Burisma, making $50,000 a month.
Then you are home. The Valley's news talk and podcasts. Talk Central.
Like, okay, so I'm really confused because, like, my dad's Latino and my mom is white, so does that mean I can only listen to, like, half of Chips and Salsa?
That's the smartest thing I've ever heard anyone say about anything.
Welcome back to your Chips and Salsa show. This is Don Jorge with my co-host.
I'm Alice Lara. I'm sorry, I didn't know you were going to say my name.
With Alice. And also, we have our guest today is Josh Chumley, Chief Advancement Officer for Choices. And we'll be talking about that. I want to remind everybody that you could listen to us. Well, I want to thank also Julian Ellison, the producer and founder of Central City Radio, and The Rock, who's the technical director back behind the window, giving us all our information. Thank you, Rock.
Taking care of us.
Taking care of us.
Way to go, guys. Way to go.
And you could reach the program on Central City Radio. Talk Central is a link, and
so you're talking about Facebook,
right? Well, that would be the Facebook site was the Central City Radio. Also, we're on the Chips and Salsa Show, our Facebook site, and after today, you could download the podcast from YouTube, which will be posted tomorrow with a full link, and also iHeartRadio. We're on iHeartRadio, voice only, of course, but those are all kinds of mediums that we're on now, and there's going to be more in the future.
And just to clarify what George was talking about, Central City Radio, so you can go to Facebook, and if you go to Central City Radio, you actually need to go to Talk Central. Right. That's where we appear live. But you can go to our Chips and Salsa Show Facebook site also. You can find us there too as well.
Yeah, we're just...
But download that app because it's great.
A plethora of things.
Right on.
So, right now, we're going to introduce our guest here, Josh Chumley. Chumley.
We were trying to make fun of your name. Are you old enough to remember that cartoon?
Are you kidding? The penguin? The penguin and the walrus?
Chumley.
Yeah.
What about the
Pawn Stars? Is that where you're going?
That's what he was thinking.
I may have had that a couple of times.
Chumley. I've never heard that name before until the Pawn Stars.
Unique, right?
The cartoon, right?
Yeah.
Chumley. We're so delighted to have you on our show. And, you know, when I was contacted, I thought, how come I don't know about this organization? But you reminded me, originally it was...
Crisis Pregnancy Care Centers.
And then I thought...
Since 1983.
Wow, I know what that is. So, and I had asked you before the show, what was the reason for, because it's been in business a long time, what was the reason for changing the name of the center?
I mean, if you think about really how culture is shifting and changing, and you think about the word choices, really we're trying to reach those women and men that are at a fork in the road. They are in a situation where there's an unplanned pregnancy. So they do have a choice before them. And unfortunately, I believe that word has been politicized.
Yes.
And we can choose, but we want to be well informed about what those choices will mean for our lives. And so our ministry is to ensure that these women are cared for, that they understand where they're at in the process. We do free pregnancy tests, free ultrasounds. We have baby boutiques in all 3 locations across the valley where they can go to these parenting classes and different life skills classes and earn baby bucks, and they can get some free things that are donated to us that we can then pass along to our clients.
That's terrific, and I am so glad too you mentioned the fathers, because I always feel like we've interviewed a lot of pro-life places and organizations and guests, and I feel like the father is left out of the equation more than not. And I mean, sometimes he probably doesn't even know that he might be having a baby.
Yeah, we do see that quite often, that they either are waiting in the car or maybe they're hanging out in the parking lot. So we really want a welcoming environment where they feel comfortable and at ease. You know, I tweeted something today. Twitter, we can tweet whatever we want now.
Ta-da! Yeah.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Finally.
But people say it takes a village to raise a child, and I just don't believe that's true. I think it takes 2 parents that are coming alongside and pouring into their children, and we want to stand for those values. But when there is a broken community around us, what do we do in that situation where we just call out the truth? Well, there needs to be 2 parents, and if there's not, then it's broken. No, we want to come alongside and minister to them where they're at and provide resources and guidance and advocacy, that they know they have a way forward, that there is hope. So many people walk into these centers, these women, with no hope.
And I learned early in life, because I had 2 daughters. The first one, I wasn't involved in the birth, but then the second one, we got into Lamaze class, and I was involved in helping her breathe and everything. You start feeling like you're part of the whole birth process, and it's really interesting. You see other moms there and other dads, and it's just a nice class. It's just the husband or significant other should always be involved in the pregnancy. It means so much to your wife and to your significant other. It's a good feeling to be involved, and it was so much to learn. They tell you everything, and those are kind of classes.
Those are the type of classes that we really want them to know. What's it like to be a parent? Because again, if we're not steadying them with information and support and love, when they do have that baby, then what?
It's so necessary in this world where they may not have had that opportunity to grow up in an intact family to learn those skills. Now, is any pre-qualification to take advantage of your services? How does that work?
No, we want people to come in. We want these women that need help, and the fathers of the baby, typically, is what we call that, because oftentimes they're not married. And so if there are people even listening now that you know somebody, come in for these services. We are completely funded by our ministry partners, our donors, where we don't charge for services or prenatal vitamins, and even the abortion pill reversal process that we're about to roll out. These things are donated to us so that we can pass it on. And just even a shout out to all the women that work at Choices. I mean, we have over 40 women that work there, and they pour their lives into seeing women healthy.
And that's why I said significant other, because today's society, some people aren't married. A lot of people aren't married. So they call them, instead of that's my husband, that's my significant other, or my wife, my significant other. It's no derogatory. It's what the times are now. And people, out of respect, some people don't want to be saying they're married to somebody. But
we would love if you would get married, because I think mom and dad,
right.
We encourage marriage. I wanted to ask you, we had talked before the show, because of our economy, is it getting harder to raise money? And you had an interesting point about that.
Yeah, so I think actually people are waking up that are passionate about life, and they want to see people healthy. So we're actually having one of the best financial years that we've had in the history of the ministry.
That's terrific.
And that's by God's grace and mercy that we can go out and serve even more. We're looking at launching nights and Saturdays soon based off of this funding. We don't want bankers' hours. We want to be there for the women that need us. We're launching campaigns where they can find us on social media much easier. We call it the Women Deserve Better campaign. Women deserve better, and babies deserve a chance.
Love that. Now, we'll talk more about this, but let's go ahead and talk about Walk and Worship Pro-Life Weekend, and very appropriately Mother's Day weekend.
It is very appropriate.
Right?
Yes.
This is great. This is an annual thing you guys do?
We do. So we've been doing these walks since 1983. And as I mentioned to you, that interesting story, that as I've come into Choices, being, this long in the valley, we've got a lot of closets with a lot of stuff in it. So I was digging through some, and I found this fascinating letter that I had to post, in our offices. It was a letter from Ronald Reagan. Back in
cool is that?
1984, he sent it to Dave and Joanna Everett, our founders, and congratulating us on the 1984 Walk and Jogathon, and just a real inspirational letter about life and what it's doing in the Valley. So if you think about that, Choices was formed 10 years after Roe.
Yeah,
and there was already so much going on in the culture, and Choices, CPC at the time, was only one of 3 pregnancy centers in the entire country.
Is that right?
That's right.
That's all that was out there? It was still relatively
There's only 2,500 now.
That's not very many, is it?
Not compared to Planned Parenthood. And we need to ensure that we that believe in life and believe in a greater love, that we're out there thinking about how we're going to engage culture in the community to compete with the Planned Parenthoods, because we want to show them the love that they can receive inside our clinics with proper medical care. We are overseen by a medical doctor. And we have nurses on site. I think that's also what makes us a different pregnancy center. We want to ensure that there's a medical component to all of this, within the ultrasounds and what's happening with each woman.
That's a lot of good and great resources. Well, Roe versus Wade happened when I was in high school, and I always tell the story about, you talk about Planned Parenthood. So we're a bunch of, I guess it's 10th grade, must be about 10th grade, and it was a child development class of all circumstances. The Planned Parenthood person came in there and was explaining to us how on the street abortions were performed. So, of course, we're a bunch of little scared little girls. I mean, 10th grade is not very old. And I often just think, man, if my mom knew what they were doing, to go in there and do that. And even when I look back and I think about our teacher in a child development class actually allowed that person to come in there to do that. But this was about child development, not about murder.
Right.
But anyway, I tell a story. Okay, we have 1 minute. When we come back, we're going to talk more to Josh about Walk and Worship Pro-Life Weekend. He's going to tell us more about Choices, this organization, formerly, and I'm going to say that because a lot of people probably still know Crisis Pregnancy Center, And if you have someone out there who'd like to get more information, please tell them to tune in. We'll be giving out websites and phone numbers and all that good stuff as well. So I'm Alice Lara. You are?
Don Jorge Alacran.
And we're going to come right back and talk to Josh Chumley with Choices.
Chumley.
And we'll be back. Don't go away. We're going to walk on some more.
This is the Valley's News Talk and Podcasts. Talk Central Phoenix, a Central City radio station.
Sixth and 7th. And again, this is the longest running walk in the Valley.
Wow, cool.
Since 1983, a walk for life. But on May 6th is a Friday night. It's from 6 to 8 at the Dream City Church Glendale campus, which is 75th Ave and 101. We have a Christian worship artist, Jordan St. Cyr. He's got an incredible testimony for life, as well as one of the leading pro-life experts and doctors in the country that really fascinating. Dr. Lyle actually does surgery on babies in the womb.
Oh, I love that.
Spina bifida, blood transfusions, heart surgeries. He also runs abortionpillreversal.com and does a lot of work with abortion pill reversal, which I'm sure we can get to at some point soon. So Friday night is packed from 6 to 8. We've got a power-packed concert. This is all free to the public. What we do ask is bring in some diapers and wipes. So we can, again, steward what we have to help the women that are coming in that need help and help those babies. And then Saturday morning from 9 to 11 on May 7th, same location, so 75th Ave and 101 at the Dream City Church. We're going to do our walk. And so get registered. You get a free T-shirt. We've almost got 300 people registered already for that. And we've got a lot of fun kids zone activities out there. Don't worry, it's cooler in the mornings, so don't let the heat steer you away, because it's Mother's Day weekend. What a better way to celebrate Mother's Day and moms than a pro-life weekend for walk and worship. And again, choicesaz.com/walk. And become part of the awareness and taking a stand in a walk in a loving way, and show our community that we love women, we love babies.
That's right.
Let's get the men engaged.
And that's the hardest thing, to get the men engaged.
Great event. Thank you for doing this.
Sure.
Part of this goes on to what's going in Congress right now about the Roe versus Wade. They have the Dobbs case, and I'm sure that
You mean
Josh...
the Supreme Court?
Huh?
You mean the Supreme Court?
Didn't I say Supreme
You said Congress.
Well, Supreme Court. But Josh...
Just trying to confuse me, George. It's okay.
Josh will explain that about the Dobbs case and what we might be looking forward to in the future.
Sure. I'd love to share. Just keep in mind, I'm not an attorney. I have played one on TV, but that's a different story.
Play one here too.
Yeah,
It's okay.
sure. But done a lot of, research into this and educating the public on what I know. And so I'll share with you what I know, and then obviously you've got the powers of Google that probably can take you some good sites, hopefully good sites, that will tell you more about Dobbs versus Jackson. And so this is a case out of Mississippi around a 15-week ban on abortion. Well, this has made its way all the way up to the Supreme Court. Mississippi State Attorney General argued that case back in December. I cannot speak more strongly about researching this case because it is the Roe versus Wade of our day.
Wow.
This will erode Roe. And that's a powerful statement that I want to resonate with anybody listening, because it basically says, well, if we can do a 15-week ban, who says we can't do... Now you're starting to poke holes in viability of the fetus, and even calling it a fetus. Mm-hmm. These are humans. And so I would do some research on that case. It will be decided by June 30th. And given the makeup of the court, unless there are some surprises, and depending on the opinion that comes down, because sometimes there's split opinions with different justices.
True.
All of these caveats, because I've worked around a lot of attorneys, but nonetheless, we should be praying for the Supreme Court justices. We should be praying for this Dobbs case, because what you're finding already, do a little bit of research. The states are taking already this into their own hands. Arizona just passed the 15-week ban, went through House, went through Senate, governor signed it. This goes into effect around September. Florida just did the same thing. Obviously, we know about Texas in the heartbeat bill. Unfortunately, there are some other states that are taking it to the other side of extremes, which is Colorado passing a full term.
Incredible.
California and Maryland taking it to the nth degree, in my opinion, a perinatal, which would be 28 days after a baby's born.
Josh, I don't even know how that's legal. In essence, there's a life that's lived 28 days, and okay, that's not an abortion, that's a murder.
It is.
So these states are taking it into their own hands. And so this is going to start being argued at the state levels, which in my opinion it should be, rather than some federal law.
You know what, I just want to correct myself, because I didn't like what I said. I said that's not abortion. Abortion is murder, ladies and gentlemen. That's like outright 28 days.
Right.
Murder of a human life.
There's a lot of disturbing things, but also a lot of encouraging things, I would say, in the world of pro-life. People are behind these issues, and too often I see people politicizing life.
Yes.
That is not what this is. Legislation is part of the discussion. But these women that come into our centers, I'm not worried about your political stance. What I want to know is what you need now and how we can show you the love of Jesus. We saw 6,000 women come through our center last year. 6,000.
Wow. How many centers do you have?
We have 3.
3 centers.
So we have Glendale, which is at 59th Ave in Peoria. We have Phoenix, which is at 19th Ave in Camelback. And then we have our Mesa Center out at Gilberton in 60. And so with these 3 centers, you know, the women that are coming in, they're looking for hope. They're looking for options. They're looking, what's my next step? You know, oftentimes they're looking at the women that work at Choices and they go, I just want you to be my mom. Because they experience a different type of love from Choices. And that's the experience we want for them. But not only that, to be quite candid with you, some of these women are still, I mean, we saw 306 babies saved last year. But there's still many others that are not.
Yeah.
But those women need help too.
You know, but there's men, young men, who don't want the burden of having a child. And so it's easy for them to say, yeah, go ahead and get an abortion. But I went through that 29 years ago, almost 30 years ago, when I didn't want another child. And it was easy for me to say, yeah. But I changed my mind, and my son is almost 30 years old. He's in the Army. He's turned out to be a beautiful child. And you don't see that when you're young. You just, you know, I've already had 2 kids, so, you know, I don't want another one. But you don't know what a woman goes through in abortions. And that's why it is so good to see organizations like this. And you have to look at it the way that the young kids are looking at it. They're not even thinking what an abortion really is. I mean, you know, you guys counsel them.
That's right. And the back end of that. I mean, even when women do leave, and we've walked them through what abortion actually is, and we do that in a very non-judgmental, loving manner, right? Well, they come back to us and say, well, I went ahead and went through with it, and I'm wrecked. That's when our Hope and Healing program kicks in. We saw 200 women go through our post-abortive recovery program last year. This is pervasive. And I feel, and I call upon the church to also, we want to help the church today. What post-abortive programs do they have? We will train them on how to host these programs. Find a woman at your church, get together, we will help train you. You know, CareNet has done some studies. They're a national life organization where almost 40% of women sitting in the church today have had an abortion.
40%.
Yeah.
And so I think that we look the other way when we don't do something about that. When we want them to heal, and then they become a testimony. I mean, I want to say, you know, my sister was one of those.
Yeah.
And I saw the burden that she carried for many years, and I found out 10 years after But as soon as she did, you know what she's doing today? She has 3 beautiful girls. And she's leading women through the same process of getting healing. This is what Christ calls us, is to get healed. So yes, I'll talk about the Dobbs case, but I also want to talk about the ministry parts of this. Exactly. Is that there's a full range of things that we want to tackle at Choices, and support is the main one, is getting families united, and that they know there's a path forward. There's a bridge to a healthy community.
That's awesome. I'm so glad you have a program like that, because many times that is left out of the equation, the women that do have abortions, and there's horrible depression that can come with that and mess them up psychologically, and just to deal with it. So thank you very much for having, it's a full service down there, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have one more segment still left. We still have plenty to talk about with our wonderful guest, Josh Chumley, with Choices. And I want you, as I said, I try to remind you, but if you have someone who wants to tune this program, and if you missed any part of it, don't worry, because it will be on the YouTube channel, and you can always go back and watch it on Facebook, in fact, too.
Yeah,
you can do that.
Our Facebook page.
Or Central City Radio if you have the app. But my name is Alice Lara, and your name is?
Don Jorge.
And we'll be right back with more of the Chips and Salsa Show here on Central City Radio, Talk Central Phoenix. Don't go away.
Listen down.
You got it. Take it away. Yes, sir.
And we are back with the Chips and Salsa Show. This is our last segment. It's going so fast because it's a good one. My name is Alice Lara.
And my name is Jorge.
We're here every Tuesday at 4 p.m. for the Chips and Salsa Show. We have a wonderful guest on with us today, Josh Chumley. You've been great. We've got another segment, and I just want to give a little commercial here. So we're calling all advocates for life. Join Choices at the annual Walk and Worship Weekend. The fun begins at 6 p.m. on Friday, May 6th at Dream City Church in Glendale. Worship with Christian artist Jordan St. Cyr, and hear Dr. William Lyle, OBGYN, the pro-life doc, share his powerful message. Admission is free, with a suggested donation of diapers and wipes. Reserve your seat online. Then on Saturday, May 7th, join hundreds of people as they walk for life at Dream City Church, Glendale. Check-in is 7:30 a.m. The walk begins at 9 a.m. Don't forget to register at choicesaz.com/walk and get your free t-shirt. So you can visit choicesaz.com/walk. Okay, one of the things we have to talk about, when we don't want to talk about it like we say, but chemical abortion. You were telling me some crazy things.
Yes, well, as we know, I think we saw a lot of things being deemed essential during COVID. And, we saw our churches locked up and those types of activities. Well, we also saw the rise of medication being sent through mail, and chemical abortion really rose upwards of 20% to wow, close to 54 to 60% now of all abortions are chemical. Well, what does that chemical mean? Well, if you've seen the movie Unplanned, you know a little bit about what I'm referring to. And this abortion pill is really being marketed to be safer than Tylenol. You can get on Plan C's site and you can see the marketing. It's unfortunate because what these women are experiencing at home is far from safer than Tylenol. They're being told you're empowered to do this, but do you realize the impact and effect that it has on a woman? The stories that we're hearing is that it's traumatizing, and they're being traumatized in their home because that's where they're taking it. Knowing that and knowing where this is going, let's put our conspiracy business hat on for a minute. Okay. Why not reduce overhead costs of a location like Planned Parenthood or a surgeon when the same result could be done through marketing these pills? Not to mention, sex trafficking is obviously, unfortunately, something that is has increased in Arizona. Mm-hmm. I believe we've seen an increase in that. So these pimps and johns are able to buy these pills in bulk. The fact that it's illegal in Arizona. They can buy them in
bulk?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
All because it's illegal in Arizona. You get on Plan C's site, they'll show you how to set up a P.O. box.
Wow.
To get it shipped here. And so while that's the problem, we also want to be a solution. The solution is abortion pill reversal. And Dr. Lyle, who's going to be at our event next week, he's one of the leading physicians in this work. We are launching abortion pill reversal at our clinics, which includes, if you've taken the first pill within 72 hours, we can give you other medication to reverse it.
Wow.
That's amazing.
You know, Dr. Lau sent me a picture the other day, and it was a 10-year-old beautiful girl. And he said, this was our first abortion pill reversal baby.
Cool. How cool is that?
And so we've got to know the trend if we're going to try to treat what's happening.
And I just want to repeat this because you told me about this before the show or during a commercial. The fact that I live in a state and I can have the abortion pill sent to another state, and then they can mail it to me. I mean, there's really no control over all these.
Yes, and we're not going to really
illegal.
understand the impact, because are people self-reporting back on the impact?
Of course not.
You know, we can track somewhat of abortions happening at these health clinics, quote unquote, or these Planned Parenthoods, but not with the abortion pill. So we that are passionate about life, we want to educate people. We want to educate women, not to scare them. We want them to know what it's going to do to their body, to their minds, to their soul, and that it's a massive impact, and that we can show them a path forward that is healthy.
Josh, up to what period of gestation do they recommend the abortion pill?
Well, they're saying I believe it's right around 7 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. Don't fact check me on that.
But what if somebody messes up and they're, beyond that, and they ordered the pill and
that's
take
really
it?
the question, right? Well, you just didn't follow directions. Is that how we're going to blame the woman for not following the directions?
Should there be side effects after they've taken that abortion pill and then they go to the reversal pill?
We have been told, I mean, Dr. Lau is, again, a leading physician in this, and that there's not been side effects that, yeah. So it's amazing to see that, all because it's been induced, which is part of the process, is inducing labor, that it can be reversed. And so we want to, again, be solution. You know what I think, I guess a pet peeve is the best way I know how to say it, is if we're going to stand on truth as conservatives, then let's stand on the fact that let's not just blame these women that are walking into the centers. That's not the way to go about this. What we need to do is provide solution, provide love, provide ministry, provide truth around biblical sexuality and biblical values, and knowing that it's not just some staunch viewpoint. Life is not meant to be politicized. This is about needing to be cared for and showing them there is hope.
I like that you said that, because many times, you get on Facebook, you start fighting with people, challenging them. I shouldn't say fighting, but, they have difference of opinion. And they often say, well, you Republicans, you conservatives, you're not doing anything for it. And that's not true, because there are organizations like yours and want to reach out and help and provide resources. But yeah, you're right. Step up to the plate if you can, if you really are firm about this, which we are. And a lot of times we don't know what to do. That's why we have people like Josh on, so he can direct us and tell us. Maybe it's writing a check every once in a while to an organization like this. Maybe it's calling up your neighbor and say, I know you're a big pro-life person. Let's go down and volunteer and see what we can do. Let's go to the pro-life weekend.
Yes.
And experience these great speakers.
Yes.
I mean, you never know how you can get inspired or who you'll meet down there. That's the great thing, too, about, you don't want to politicize things, but once you get engaged, you meet like-minded people,
right.
And you make
Values.
some fantastic friends, too.
Yes, I agree.
There's never a negative experience that I've known.
Yeah, I mean, I was at the March for Life in January here. I mean, that was an amazing experience to see that many people gathered around and coming together, not worrying about religious this or religious that. We're all there for life. And we know that we want to see babies thrive, and we want to see women deserve better health care.
Absolutely. We're getting down to our last few minutes. Give out your organization's information again. Anything you'd like to say that maybe we haven't covered?
Sure. So you can find us at choicesaz.com. If you want to donate, so it would be choicesaz.com/donate. About the walk, choicesaz.com/walk. I mean, you get on there and you can start exploring our different services. One of our mottos is, we want a greater love for Phoenix. We want to express a greater love for Phoenix. And compassion really leads us, and transformation inspires us. We want transformative relationships with the people coming through the centers, the ministry partners that we have out in the community. So many of us are doing incredible things, and we need to do it together.
It's been wonderful having you on. George, we want to promote our guest for next weekend.
Oh, yes.
Another fantastic pro-life
Our guest
person.
for next week is going to be Jesse Romero. He's pro-life. He's a
Catholic evangelist.
And he's been on our show before. He's a great guest. You'll really enjoy listening to him. He's very dynamic, and it's going to be a wow show. Just like this one is a wow show because it's going so fast. Those are wow shows. When they go fast like this, it's very interesting, and it's a very interesting subject.
And again, I remind you, so if you've missed any part of this show, you can always go back and listen to it or contact us. We're looking for interns as well.
So we'll be announcing that every show now regarding the internships and the openings for internships. So contact us. Call me.
Yeah, that was a good little drum roll that you did there, wasn't it? And we appreciate our audience. We call them chipsters. So now you're officially a chipster, Josh. Da 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 da.
Officially a chipster.
And we're big on pro-life here. Like I say, I apologize for not having my button. I wear it just about every show. I don't have it today, but we've got it. We have to pray to end abortion. Absolutely. Okay, we covered our guest for next time, and we want to thank Rock for always taking care of us. And Josh, we want you to come back and visit. Let us know how this went.
Thank you.
Now that we've made another new friend, see how it's cool?
Yeah,
new
it's
friends.
great.
And we hope that you'll report on what's happened. Also provide us. We talked about we have a mutual friend, Mayra Rodriguez, and these women have such great, powerful stories. So instead of taking a horrible, awful experience, whatever, God has His hand on them, and they come back.
Well, one of our friends also is Hilda, and she went through a very, very traumatic time in her life regarding abortions and all that, and it's her story is so interesting. She's written 4 books now, and she'll be on our show in the future, and hopefully we'll get Josh and her both together.
That'd be good.
You will love Hilda because she's very, very passionate. Her story is so heartwarming because she had cervical cancer or something.
Yes, so she was pregnant.
Yeah, and they wanted her to abort the child, and they said it was bad for her, and so she had to face her family and stuff, and she chose not to. And her story is fantastic. She's a business owner now. She's like, her son is very...
And then what happened is they wrote a book together.
Yeah.
And it's talking about, he's there with her. It's very cool. All right, we've got to wrap it up. Thanks again. We were talking
Thank you for having
today.
me.
Oh, you're so welcome. We're talking to Josh Chumley, Chief Advancement Officer for Choices. That's choicesaz.com. Remember, the Walk for Life, okay? That's Friday and Mother's Day weekend. I'm Alice Lara. You are
Don Jorge.
We'll be back again next Tuesday here for the Chips and Salsa Show on Central City Radio, Talk Central Phoenix. Muchas gracias, Chipsters. Have a wonderful rest of the week.